don't know. I'm a bit late doing a video today, so I thought I'd do a live one. I went to watch the rugby last night. Well, went to watch the rugby last night. My mate gave me a call and went out to see Wales play. We saw the first match, which was France v... can't remember now. Fantastic game. Absolutely fantastic game. Really close. France v Ireland, that's right. And the score didn't justify how well both teams played. They really played well. And then after that, Wales v Scotland. And Wales v Scotland match, for Wales at the start of the game, I thought, oh, we're going downhill like we were before, and it was a flash in the pan. But second half, man alive, Wales played well. Really played well. I'm really proud of them. We didn't win, but excellent. I couldn't fault them, to be fair. Just young lads trying their best. And it's fantastic to see young lads just doing what they want, you know, just trying all different things. And obviously, Gatland going has made a big difference. So I was there with some of my friends. You know, the ones I've been talking about in my funny stories. I met a lot of them last night. They did. They were fantastic. It was. Really proud of them. And I did think at the first half, oh, this isn't going to go well. But really good. Especially some of them young lads, they're only in their early 20s. I think if some of them, if they're in their 20s, they really played well. So I was a little bit delicate getting home last night. I was drinking cider again, and, well, let's just say, cider has a bit of an effect on me. Oh, well, there's a few watching. Yeah, fair play. Thanks for joining. So what I wanted to show you today was, when I showed you around the Land Rover the other day, I haven't done anything to it since then, but I told you about those panels that are going up. Let me trace. Everything's back to front when you point to something on here, okay? So I'll point for it first. So over there, on each side of the doors, those things were... Over there by the doors, they were rotted, remember I showed you? So I ordered these things, and fair play, they come in a few days. So there is the first one. That's the one thing. So that's a bit of the door flange. Look, it needs welded off. And the other bit is that bit on the bottom. So they were 80 quid, so one on each side. I don't think I should be welding them today. They probably won't go on in the right angle. It does. Never give up, man. Never give up. Long live the Queen, but she's sadly passed now, man. Oh, I better not mention him, I don't think. You mentioned him, I think you'll end up having the police. Hold on, let me hold this phone a bit better. I think there's a lot more than him. He's a bit of a scapegoat, I think. It really is. Yeah, I think they've been having trouble, haven't they? One thing with these live things, they tend to go in a different direction. So you were talking about that. So that would be sort of linked to the Epstein files again. And they're having trouble getting them things out, aren't they? Because from what I understand in America, those files are held in a certain state in America. And they've been basically just putting them through the shredder as fast as possible. It's around the 1980, it was registered, but it had an accident and then was done back up again. So I think it's around the 1980. So Series 3 Land Rover. What do I think of Andrew Tate? I don't watch him much. I did, when they were talking about him, I did click on to him and had a look at him a while back. And he's just one of these arrogant people, I suppose, but I can see what he's talking about. We have got this thing in the UK where they're trying to stop men being men, really, aren't they? They stop stop men being like they were sort of powerful people, or being the breadwinner. They're not too keen on that now. So I think that's why. That's it. 2.25 engine. Yeah, I think that's why they've took against him. And I don't actually think he's done nothing too wrong, I don't think. And they've just took against him, really. So what do I think of him? I don't watch him personally. I can see why young people watch him, because it seems like the young lads in the UK are having a hard time all the time, aren't they? Hello there, aviation farming. I hope I can keep up with this. Yeah, I have noticed when you have some live things, there's some weird comments as well. Yeah. It's a good way for me to put a video up if I'm a little bit behind or something in another live, because I can just do it. I only started doing them last week, and it's quite nice to talk to you lot, to be fair. So, well, I couldn't possibly comment. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's what I think. So, regarding our asylum system in the UK, I may as well say what I think about it. I think all illegal people are breaking the law and should be sent back where they came from. That's what I think. It doesn't matter what nationality you are. And if you're a person who's come into the UK tidy and through the right channels, you should be allowed. That's what I think. So if you go through the time to do fill out all the various forms and everything in another country and you're accepted, fair enough. Like, no problem with that. It's just the people who come in illegally and they don't seem to have any checks whatsoever. So you're importing savages, basically, aren't we, with no checks at all. So, and like I said the other week, maybe we should just be having a new battalion of the savages and sending them over to Ukraine. Yeah, definitely need to be just stricter. And like I say, you're not a right wing, because David Blunkett had exactly the same ideas in the year 2000. He had a strict immigration policy. I remember it. They were backed up with millions, and they did 2 tranches of 600,000 people they let into the UK that were illegals, and then it cleared all the system, and he started from scratch. And then he was doing the system like me and you were talking. So if you were illegal, you were sent back. But they don't. Now, if you say that, you're right wing, but that was David Blunkett's idea. I stand with Russia is a bit of a wrong one, isn't he? Yeah, UK is full. As simple as that, bud. Yeah, I couldn't say much wrong with that. I was just listening to the news this morning about new reform and everything, and it pretty much said what I said yesterday. I think Rupert sounds like he's gone out of reform. It's sad. They should have just had a chat and try and sort it out. And there we are. Shout out my homies, Nighthawk and Cherry Buster. No problem. Fast track is good. Good, yeah, that's sorted. I haven't used it much at the moment. I've got to do some work with that now this next week. I've just been a bit busy with everything at the moment. This workshop is one of them ones that are extremely messy, I'm afraid. I've got to say. I'm not the tidiest in my workshop. I wish I have. I tidy it up sometimes. It's a bit like Wes's from One Lonely Farmer, if you look at that one. Within 5 minutes, it's back as a shithole again. And see, I don't know. Part of me is thinking a little bit about this thing with Rupert Lowe. I like him and everything, but it's almost as if it's planned to split up Reform. But I don't know. They definitely, the last week, I think it's a bit strange how Starmer's gone into #1 of his most popular leader, and Reform are getting attacked from all angles. I think there's a bit of a plan on go there somewhere. I don't know what it is, but something's going on. Yeah, I haven't had this motor on this machine, this Land Rover going from God, it's over 20 years, and I haven't even looked at it yet. So it was going okay, but the electrics were fried in it. So what happened, I've said before on here, years back when they put in the new halogen bulbs in Land Rovers, in Series 3 Land Rovers, to get better lights, it bloody put too much power through the looms of them and burnt out the looms on a lot of Land Rovers. And that's what's happened with this one. Yes, I'm well, thank you. I'm trying to keep up with them all. Sorry if I miss a few of you. Yes, more like they're trying to start a wind implode from within, I think, myself. It's, like I've said to you all before, that the British state is the most ruthless, you never see anything like it, most ruthless state in the world. They will do anything to get their way, anything. They don't care what they do, just so they get their way. That is the problem. Hello, hillbilly, how are you? Mickey the monkey? Hope you don't mind me doing this live one instead of a normal one today. I was a little bit from the cider last night, so I thought it'd be easier. Because I don't have to upload it and things, you know. Yeah, UK does need to stand firm, to be fair. No, what I've got is a Firmec 760, not a JCB. Cracking bit of kit. I did have a good night. I only went out for a few, and I did come back at 9 o'clock, but I not. It was a lot of beer in a short amount of time. No, I think Nigel is in this for the long haul. I do this time. It looks like he's in there, and he's ruthless. He's going to be ruthless. Because what people need to understand, even though I like Rupert Lowe myself, I think he's a nice guy. What they need to get into their head is, you've got to get voters, to win the next election, you need to get voters who are not on your side. So you need to pick up voters who are on the verge of voting for Conservative or Labour. The people who are going to vote for reform are going to vote for reform, but it's the people they need to get, the people who are just on the edge. That's how you win elections. And I think the Democrats in America have forgotten that. Policies win elections, in my opinion. So you need good policies to help all of us out. And good policies win elections, and they always have. And the Democrats in America have forgotten about that. It's a hillbilly half pint on Saturday. I actually switched ciders last night. What did I go on to? God, I can't remember now. It tasted sweeter, but it was stronger, for sure. Might do in the short run, I think, Emma. I do. God, I got to say, I like Rupert myself. I think they will lose a few to start with, but there's a long time till the election. So hopefully they can come together a bit and be back together again, I hope. Shout you out, Hot Dog Uni BG. You have just been shouted out. It is a shame, Emma, it is. Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's like Boris, really. I think lots of leaders want to be leaders, but when they get to be a leader, they think, what have I done? But I think there's certain people, like Farage and Boris and others like that, who like to be a leader, and that's the reason they like to do it. So they are big-headed, they are awkward, but them are the sort of people, like a Churchill or whatever, that love the job. God, cheers, Pat. Can't believe it. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Very nice of you. So I think lots of leaders go to be a leader, like Liz Truss, for instance. And I don't know what's happened now. All the stuff is gone. They want to be leaders. And then when they get there, they hate it, like Liz Truss. You've got to be a person who ignores everything that's being told to you. That's, in my opinion, you've just got to let it go over your head, like Farage does, and get that message out to people. So, for instance, say you want to put a message out next week about some kind of policy you want everybody to go, just stick with that. And I think what Rupert was doing was putting it all out in one go, all the time, and they were trying to get it a bit more, which I liked what he was doing. He was getting a lot of traction. But then you got Farage, who doesn't like being attacked like that, which is, it's because they are bigger-headed people. They like to be the boss, don't they? Sorry, I missed a few comments here now. Cool, my phone is going flat. Yeah, thank you very much, bud. I really appreciate that. Hot Dog Uni. You're nice chap. Fair play, thank you. You didn't have to do that, thank you. Rupert is happy being a worker. His output has embarrassed the rest. It has, it really has. But I think he's been doing a lot of good things. And it's sad it's ended like this. If they could just learn to work together a bit more for the bigger, like we all say, the bigger cause is trying to help the UK out of this shithole we've been ruled by these fucking nutcases, aren't we? Sorry, expletives. Do I think there's truth in any of this? With reform, you mean, is it? Yeah, definitely, I agree, Emma. They could definitely be, if they could sort this out, it'd be a grand job. Because I think that Rupert Lowe, he's obviously a businessman, and he gets everything spot on, to be fair. He goes in there, finds all the stuff out, and more of that needs to happen. So it's 50 of you on. Yeah, thank you all for watching. Indeed, it's really appreciate it. I got to say, this Ukraine thing now, the last few days I haven't been watching a lot of it, but it does seem like they're having to come to the table now at last. But Russia have been bombing Ukraine and they're still fighting like hell. So I don't know really what's going to... I hope that comes to a conclusion now, I really do. But I think the West at the moment are trying to keep this war going because it makes their leaders look like they are so good. And you look at Starmer now, he's at top of the pops now, isn't he? Where the week before everybody hated his guts. So wars keep leaders in their places, and that's what they all think. Macron and all that lot in the EU. Remember, that EU is just a trading bloc. It's nothing more than a trading bloc, and they want to have their own bloody army. That's weird if you ask me. Yeah, I agree with you. He is a self-made guy. I hope they make up, because he's a good guy, I think. Yeah, it is. I stand with Russia. You're right. It is. There's a lot of propaganda being thrown at everybody, left, right, and centre, and they're trying to make people believe things. And it's a job to know what the truth is, isn't it? All I know is my views are a bit like Tony Benn with this. I don't think you should go to war unless it's absolutely necessary. And the sooner you stop mindless killing, the better. Because in the end, they will stop over the same bloody thing. If it's a year on from now or 2 years on from now, and the only difference will be 2 lots of 700,000 people killed. I haven't seen June Slaters for a while now, for a couple of weeks. I've just been busy doing my own. I haven't looked at a lot of other ones. If I could bring 1 PM back from history, that's interesting. That is interesting. Who would that be? That is a very good question. Well, Churchill was a good war leader, but he wasn't a very good normal prime minister. So, I don't honestly know. That's a bloody good question. There was a few pretty good Labour leaders around that time. I can't remember their names, to be honest with you. But I think Harold Wilson, he was a nice old guy, but he was just... The country went to shit under him. But he was a nice old guy. And they... Do you know who I... Right, this is going to be controversial. This is going to be controversial. One guy I would have liked to have seen as a PM, just to see what had happened, was Jeremy Corbyn. And that's mad, isn't it? I genuinely think that guy didn't want to hurt anybody. I think he was one of them guys that do the right thing. I don't believe all his politics, but he was the only guy I've seen go in the House of Commons and actually he'd stand at that dispatch box and he would say to the other leaders things that nobody in that House of Commons wanted to see. He'd say, hello, Emily from Rotherham wants to ask this question, sort of thing. So I don't know what he'd been like, but it would have been really interesting, because he went a bit mad on the last time he tried to be PM, but the time before he had some pretty good policies, to be fair. It's, what will you do with the donation? Well, here we are. It's paid for them, bud. So this cost me 80 quid. So you paid for one side of my Land Rover. You paid for one of them, and I thank you very much. And to saying to everybody on you, really, the spring set I bought to go underneath here cost me, was it 250 quid? And you lot on your YouTube watching me have paid for that, so thank you very much. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he got... Corbyn, heart was in the right place, and the last time he tried to be PM, when that last election, he listened to too many really far-left people. If he'd just stood his guns and been like Tony Benn was, which was anti-EU, and with his own principles, he'd have won that. Because lots of the Labour side were trying to stop him winning. Lots of the progressives. Yeah, no, I agree with that, Grey Man. Yeah. I see him being interviewed the other day, and he's still the only person. He was being interviewed by, was it John Pienaar, I think, the BBC guy, and he really gave him a hard interview, and all he was anti-war, and he was answering it pretty much like I would as well. So I think he gets a bad old turn, but he's never been PM, so that wouldn't have worked, would it? You know, from what the question I was asked. So Liz Truss, she didn't have enough time to really have a good go, to be fair to her. Yeah, that's not a bad one. Who would I say to give another chance? Yes, Liz Truss. I'd give her maybe 6 months to 12 months to see if her policies would have worked. Yeah, that's a good call out. I do think she was removed by the establishment, really, the banking lot. The banking lot, her policies meant that the bankers and increasing production in the UK were going to pay for our debt. Now, the bankers didn't want that, so they wanted you and me to pay for the debt, and that's why she was removed. And then that's why our taxes went up, because she was removed because they realised she was going to get them to pay for it, which they didn't like. Yeah, I'm a Brexiteer, and I've said this before. When I was younger, I worked in a factory in my local town, and when we joined that second part of the EU, all the factories around Mid Wales area were given grants to go and open in, where was it now? Another part of the EU. And they basically just dropped tools around here, left everybody in the lurch, thousands of jobs were gone, and they moved them to the EU. And that's why I voted it. And also, they were just taking the piss about all these regulations on farming. It was nuts. Has Liz Truss met with Rupert Lowe? I don't know. But, yeah, it's a weird world we live in. A weird world. Well, I'm going to have to go now because my phone is about flat. Was Gordon Brown? I think Gordon Brown was a wrong 'un. Now, all he was after was removing Tony Blair. And he was one of them guys that got into power and he ruled like a rod of iron. So I didn't trust him at all. So I'm off now. Ta-da, ta-da to everybody. My phone's going to go flat. But thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching. See you again, okay? And press subscribe if you don't mind. It doesn't cost you anything and it really helps me out. Ta-da.